So the Nintendo Switch has been out for around a month now. It has certainly gained some momentum and has even outsold the Wii's launch sales. Needless to say, there is demand for this console, even with the currently small catalogue of games. Though there are still a buttload of people that are still deciding whether the system is worth it yet, or at all. So how's it held up to all the hype surrounding it? And is it worth it now? I'll tell you my side of the entire story after a month's usage. The system definitely has a premium feel to it and looks extremely sleek with its grey accents. The screen's 720p resolution is great and worth the enhanced battery life it gets from ditching a 1080p screen in my opinion. The device has shown no wear and tear whatsoever on its plastic body. Even the logo and writing have remained intact as you can see. The screen however is a different story. But more on that later. The position of the USB-C port is unfortunate for tabletop mode, though it doesn't bother me too much. The power button and volume button are well placed and the headphone jack is in the right place too, though I would have preferred it to be within the Joy-Cons, similar to the PS4's DualShock controller. The kickstand and the well-hidden microSD card slot underneath do what they're supposed to. The kickstand is sturdier than it looks, though some people seem to disagree. If it snaps off, it can simply be reattached, though it hasn't snapped on me once with normal use. I do wish they had implemented a similar design to the Surface tablets though, as the kickstand is a little awkward in comparison. The right Joy-Con sports an IR sensor. I've also made great use of the screenshot button, with 138 screenshots in Breath of the Wild. Unlike the PS4, the screenshot function on the Switch is a lot snappier and easier to use. Joy-Cons come off easily from the Switch itself. The Joy-Cons are quite comfortable like this, even after prolonged use. They have a smooth finish and tactile buttons. They do feel quite sexy if you ask me, though the right analog stick can be awkward to move in this position, and the plus and minus buttons are also a little too high, making you shuffle your hands up to reach them. The Joy-Con grip does address some of these issues. Now I really have to say, despite what everyone says, I prefer the Joy-Con grip over the Pro controller. Seriously. After all, the Joy-Cons are what give the Switch its versatile capabilities in the first place. Though I understand why some may prefer the more traditional Pro controller, I have had some issues with the Joy-Cons disconnecting, though these issues are limited to a few Switches only, and apparently Nintendo does offer free repairs. Let's hope this is true. The Joy-Cons attach as easy as ever to turn the Switch into a more traditional handheld. Probably like this mode the best to be honest. Plus that software integrated click never gets old. The tabletop mode works, but the screen is just too small man, I really don't like it. But it does allow you to sneakily play Zelda behind your laptop screen in class, even with your friends if you use the Joy-Con separately for multiplayer. To up your sneak game, you can cross your arms and use the Joy-Con separately as well. The Joy-Con straps are a nice addition to the old package, though you do have to be careful to attach them correctly. I did find myself using them when getting some of that fast arm mix with friends, though the triggers feel cheap and mushy. Just listen. I guess I can't really complain though, since it's essentially a feature thrown in for good measure that doesn't up the price of the console too much, just like the tabletop mode. I do hate the sound of the triggers though. Minor issue, but still. Of course you're given two of them to spread the love with an SOL friend, enabling out-of-the-box multiplayer. Though I've found the lock on the straps to be anything but useful. I legitimately can't tell when it's locked or not when removing the straps. The dock, or essentially the huge chunk of plastic holding your Switch in position for TV mode, looks sleek, but is bulky. I would have preferred for the front to be open like a traditional charging dock for a phone. Nintendo could have even implemented a battery status animation when plugged in and taken out, similar to the way that Samsung's phones do it. The side sports two USB 2.0 ports, which I have tried out with my Razer Kraken headset. Sadly, it doesn't work. However, this should be possible to change with the software update. The back panel is quite nice for cable management, making the whole setup look just a little cleaner. The back also supports a USB 3.0 port, which I haven't really used. Now to the part that I did the most. Yes, my dock did scratch the screen. Luckily, I applied a plastic screen protector after hearing about early complaints, so the actual screen itself is fine. It still boggles my mind how this is an issue though. The dock is essential to the Switch, so it should be padded well enough to prevent the screen from scratching. It's only the bezels that are scratched really, but that's still no excuse. The dock also left some weird marks on the bottom corners of my screen. They look like smudges but won't come off. Not impressed, but this is apparently only affecting a minority of Switches, so I guess I was just unlucky. That's what I get for early adopting I guess, but hey, anything for Zelda. The screen is also quite the fingerprint magnet, though that is to be expected with a touchscreen. The touch itself works quite nicely though. It's also hardly used in core games like Zelda and Fast RMX, so I guess we can count it out as a gimmick. If anything, it invites indie developers to get creative. The console's back does not attract fingerprints at all really, as it's matte. I do like that it looks like brushed aluminum without being prone to fingerprints. So, would I recommend the Switch? Yes, but maybe wait till E3. Man, I've put frickin' 105 hours into Zelda alone. It's a time sink, and currently the main selling point of the Switch. Yes, the game's that good. But if we've learned anything from the Wii U, even after a month's time, the best action is to wait for future releases to be announced. Thanks for watching. Nutrigo out.